All right. Here is a brief financial lesson. People was telling me, we don't really understand percentages and interest rates and stuff like that. So let's just look at this, right? We're gonna look at. Now I'm using a personal loan, but we can use a car instead for the same kind of example, right? So it's things that is based on how long you're gonna pay, how much you're gonna pay, how much you're gonna pay back, and the total interest, right? So on this first one, 4 years, you're gonna give them back around 14,000, 13%. Now look at it. The percentage points is almost the same, but what you would pay to allow somebody to give you the money changes how long you pay. So here, if you took longer to pay them back, so let's again think this is a car. You take longer to pay them back, you're gonna pay them 5,000 more for that extra year. You're gonna give them another 5,000. So on the other side, if you did it shorter a year, you would save about $4,000. And then compared to that 60 year, you save about double. Right? You save about double. 995 to 19. So you save double. So let's scroll down. Let's look at some more. So as that interest rate goes up, though, look at that. Same 60 months. We're gonna go. Let's see if we can get 60 months in it too. So there we go. So the same 60 months at the top and at the bottom. So different companies. It ain't even 2%. And as far as monthly payments, it ain't $50. But it's another 3,500. So that's kind of what I'm saying. The interest, as you taking on more, as you paying longer, and this is a subset of credit cards. It's a subset of cars. It isn't just a personal loan. It's anything that is getting interest. So you're taking it out. Let's go and see some more crazy. Let's see if there's some more crazy stuff in there. So right now that's the highest we see, 22,000. So we're gonna pay them about half of that 50 to take out 50. If you got a lot of cash, that's a lot of cash. Where you gonna live at, and you gotta pay somebody 2,300 a month on something real quick, but you gotta pay them 20. That's a lot of money. All right, so that's eight. That's eight. And here we go. This is credit card type stuff, and this is why they used to call it predatory when credit cards are due to people, but we don't. We're not seeing it. And so, what this could look like for us is $30,000 between all your credit cards. It don't have to look like a $150,000 loan. It could look like $30,000 between all your credit cards, and they all be 25 or higher. And over that time, you could be paying them that much in interest, and you ain't paid it off. That's the difference. This is a loan, so the loan has a start date and an end date. Your credit cards don't have an end date. It just revolves and keeps building and keeps charging you the max amount of interest that you could possibly be paying. So it'll probably be even more than this. And we can look at that in a second. All right. 18. There we go again. little bit more, happy that my chance of approval is low. Cause I don't want to pay them guys $40,000 to borrow 50. And think about it like years of life. Like, if you're gonna borrow, this is probably like around 1 year's salary for a lot of people. You're gonna borrow 1 year's salary, but you're gonna spend 2 years to pay back the 1 year that you borrow. That's crazy. You're gonna spend a year and a half to pay back the 1 year. And you're already gonna be behind on everything else too. Alright, let's see. Anything else crazy? Yeah, they still. So see what I'm saying? This is how they get you. Man, we give you that low payment, baby. Make it affordable. 7 years. Interest rate ain't even above 20, but you be paying them 35. So this is again how a lot of these things don't work in your favor, because you're doing it like that. Let me see if I can switch over here. Alright, see if I can go to a different one. And so we've been talking about personal loans. Now let's use an auto loan. Let's use an auto loan. See if we can get that over here. Here we go. So we got an auto loan. Come on, man. Nobody care about all that. We want to borrow. Most cars are what, 30,000? This is it, 30,000 used car. Let's start at 6.5. All right. So, remember what I was telling you. If you borrow at 30, it's gonna cost you 5. Costs a whole lot more to pay that monthly off to get it off the thing, but it'll save you. So what's that? 22, 23, 20, 21, 2,100. So the problem with the cars is you're gonna end up paying 33,000 regardless, and at the end of it, you still, your car isn't going to be worth 33,000. So that's the problem with cars, first and foremost. But looking at it this way, your cars, is a bad investment for that reason. Even though, to have it and to make money off of it and to use it as a vehicle to make money, that's good. So let's switch it though. Let's switch it to somebody who's paying 12.5. So 12.5, now we just went up double. Your interest rate double, but you're also double. You're spending 45. You're spending 40.5 for that 30 loan. Same thing there. Pay it off quicker. If you can find another, what's that? $300 a month. If you can find another $300 a month, you might save a little bit on the interest side. Is that another $100 a month right there between those two? 100. So there we got 10.5. Spend another $100 a month. We got 8.3. So you save about 2,200 again. Again, this is just number stuff that I wish we talked about. I wish we understood before we signed our name on the bottom line. With somebody I ran into, they had a Carvana. And this is what made me even think about this, right? So they got a Carvana car, and they just was happy to get the car delivered and all that. And here we go. get the 28%. My first car was 28% too. 28%. I had 6 years. But my car, luckily for that, was 10.5. It was 10.5. So that's what mine was looking like. I had a GMC Jimmy, blue GMC Jimmy, and for 10.5, for 11,000 finance, it was that much. So I paid double for the car. I didn't know at the time. I just was happy to have a car. You know, I didn't have enough credit, didn't have enough job experience. At 22, 23 years old, 24 years old, to qualify for something better. And at this stake, we can see that the lower the car that we get, the lower the amount that we're financing, it doesn't really, I don't want to say don't make a difference, but it really don't make a difference. Even at a high price point, because it was manageable monthly payments. So you can knock that out in 3 years and, you know what I'm saying, and spend half of that on that. And that's at a crazy jump. So let's go back down to a regular, let's say 8.5. See what I'm saying? At 8.5, you sitting there like, why not buy a car? If it's only gonna cost me $500 a year, 3 years, $1,500, it's only gonna cost me $500 a year to borrow their money. Why not? That's way better than even right here, $500 a year. I'm spending $500 a year to pay this car. So again, the more car that you buy, you know, that it's gonna go up. So let's look at one last one. I know this is a long one. Let's look at one last one. I want to get the amortization too. So give me a second. So the last one is a house. House is the biggest one, right? So let's see. And why I want this amortization, John, is because I want you to be able to see the month by month. I want you to be able to see it. So most houses, $500,000 in DC. Everybody want good old 30 year. Bad interest rate, even now, probably 8.9. Say 8.9. So that's around what people paying. What I want y'all to see is this. You're buying a $500,000 house. After 30 years, you're spending $1.5 million. Right there, it's in front of you. You're spending $1 million in interest. $1 million in interest. Now, what I was trying to teach people back before was how to make extra monthly payments and knock that down. So let's say even on this, right here, we were only paying that first year. Was that $300? Was that $300? No, it can't be $300. Out of that, wow. Out of that $4,000 a month that you're paying, $300 a month is only going to the principal. Because that's 3,600. 3,600 divided by 12 is 300. 300. 300. So, let's just say even on that first jump, I don't know where you're going to find it from, But let's say you got $500 a month. Here we go with this. Here we go with how that number look. Now, you're still paying them with that extra payment. So now you're paying $4,500 a month. You already had $4, so you might as well throw the extra $5 on it. Throw the extra $5 on it. You save $400,000. You save 10 years on your loan. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't. Your loan doesn't get to grow as fast. Since it doesn't get to grow as fast, it gets knocked down faster. So this is the problem with minimum payment, right? We all minimum payment. So and I'm gonna go to a different number. Let's say 4.5. We say 4.5 is a good interest rate. We're gonna take off the optional payments for a second. Let's look at that. So you're paying $2,500 a month, and you end up paying total interest $400,000. That's better, right? So we just see, even with it being a certain amount of percentage points, that's a 400. Let's just see what 5 say. 500, 600, 700, 75, 900. So you see what I'm saying? That interest rate, even certain percentage points, and remember, you're getting it when you sign up for it. So the problem for what a lot of people do is they get the house because they want to get the house, and it's a good house and it's a cheap price, and they're able to get it, and then they try to refinance later. So what they end up doing though is they end up, and we're going to use this for an example. This is refi purposes. In the 10th year, they try to refi. And this is how much you owe in the 10th year. So we're gonna go there, and then we're gonna pop it for 4.5. So we was at that, and we'd already paid 40 times 10. Damn. 40 times 10 in interest. That's 80,000. That's 120, 160, 240, 280, 320, 360, 400,000 in interest in the first 10 years. And then what we do is we say, okay, let's try to get a lower interest rate. So we get the lower interest rate, but what normally happens is they reset the loan. So we end up spending that 4 that we spent, right? We already just spent 4 because 10 years is over with. Now we're going to take 40 years to pay it, and we're going to pay them 4 plus 7. You know, we're going to pay them what, 40, that's about 77. Let's say 70, 76, 77. Because it's 400,000 plus the 350,000. You save a little bit, right? You save a little bit. Save about 100,000. That's why refinances, you know, I don't know. And you still gotta get that lower rate. That lower rate has to be available for you at that time. So if it ain't that low, that percentage point going to even 6.5, where you're trying to save a little bit, you can be paying more. You'll be paying more than what you would have already been paying. You were already paying $880. Now you're paying 4 plus $565. So you're paying $9,600, $9,700. So you're paying more. So again, I'm doing all this, you know, just so people can see it. Um, you know, I'm also doing this for my own edification so I can make sure I don't um overpay, right? And I value what I have, right? So I done had this house shoot about 7 years. So, and that's about it. That's about how much I owe right now. 280, 320, 280. So I only paid off full. But, as time goes on, it'll knock down quicker. If I had it, if I could figure out a way to do it, putting that extra $5 a month, it would have saved me 100. It would have saved me 10 years. I got the house at 39. That means I would have had the house paid for before I was 60. And that's a good thing. You don't have to pay $2,000 a month when you're 60 years old. You don't have to worry about that when you're that old. That's a good thing. So, that was the plan. That wasn't a plan somebody else wanted to do, but that was the plan I wanted to do. The other plan I had was just throwing, like, let's say, tax refund. Throw the tax refund straight at it, too. Get that jump. Now, we would have went all the way down to 12. That shit would have been done. This shit would have been right there beside being done. In the 7th year, we would have had 150 in equity, 200 in equity, almost. Ah, boy. Gotta hate when people don't understand the plan. But either way, it's what God got. So hopefully this helped y'all out. Again, the websites that I use was calculator.net, bankrate.net, and Credit Karma for this initial one. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Have a good one.